this story, The Vision of the Blind Lady, is a true story. I interacted with a particular family in rural West Bengal 20 years ago during my PhD. And at that time, from that time, I started feeling that when we can tell, when geneticists, as geneticists, we sometimes, not every time, but sometimes we can tell without any doubt that somebody will have a disease later in their life. But because they don't yet show symptoms, so it's difficult to start treatment. So this was, I was conflicted in my mind for a long time. That then why are you doing it, right? What can we give back to the families with that information? How can we help them more?
The vision of the blind lady, that is the genetic aspects. What we choose for that, and what we are very enthusiastic to make that film, as because of the genetic science has a big outreach. It's needed a big outreach to the people.
The vision that I have is the same vision that I had 20 years ago, but of course it's now more mature, more refined. The vision is that in some cases, some rare opportunities, genetic data can with absolute clarity can inform us about the future outcomes of individuals, especially in a family, in a hereditary forms of disease. Many times it doesn't, but sometimes it can. And in vision is, in those cases, what we now do in medical practice, now clinicians screen those patients more often than usual, so that as soon as the symptoms show, they can start the treatment. But usually, by the time the symptoms are detectable by current clinical methods, disease has actually progressed quite far. So my vision is to be able to convince different stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Public is a stakeholder, the patients. Clinicians are the biggest stakeholders because they are the ones who can do something about it. Policymakers are the stakeholders. If policymakers tell that genetics should be in line with all other evidences with equal confidence, then we can actually go one step further and start preventive management.
আমরা যখন প্রথম এই কাজটা করতে যাই, আমার কাছে যখন স্ক্রিপ্টটা আসে, তখন অ্যাজ এ ন্যারেটর আমার মনে হয়েছিল যে ন্যারেশন সাধারণত ডকুমেন্টারিতে যেটা হয় সেটা খুব ড্রাই। সেটার ক্ষেত্রে হচ্ছে যে তার মধ্যে কোনো রকম ভিজুয়াল কোনো ইম্প্যাক্ট থাকে না। আমার একটা ভিজুয়াল ইম্প্যাক্ট দরকার ছিল। ভিজুয়াল ইম্প্যাক্ট আমি কীভাবে দেব? একটা গ্লোকোমা সেই রোগের ক্ষেত্রে দেখা যায় যে সেটা হচ্ছে যে সেটা একটা অন্ধকার, মানে সে ফিল করে যে পেশেন্ট, সে হচ্ছে সে অন্ধকারের মধ্যে থাকে, তার একটা সামান্য কোনো লাইট তার মধ্যে থেকে সে অনুসরণ করে। তা আমার কাছে মনে হয়েছে এটা খুব জাস্টিফাই করা যায় যে সেটা হলো যে সে যদি একটা ক্যান্ডেল লাইট, সেই ক্যান্ডেল লাইট নিয়ে সে যদি হচ্ছে মুভ করে, ক্যান্ডেল লাইটের যে সফটনেস, সেটা একটা আলাদাভাবে একটা ইমাজিনেশনের একটা ইমেজারি একটা জার্নি তৈরি করবে। ওখানে যেটা শুধুমাত্র স্পাইরাল স্টেয়ারকেস, সেটা আমাদের মনে হয়েছিল ডিএনএ স্ট্রাকচারের সঙ্গে একটা মিল থাকবে। এবং যখন একটা জার্নির মধ্যে দিয়ে যাচ্ছে, যখন সেই স্টোরি বলছে যে একজন রিসার্চার, সেই রিসার্চার সে উপরে উঠছে, তার মানে কোথাও একটা জায়গায় তার একটা জীবনের ক্ষেত্রে সে লিফট আর কি, তার জ্ঞান, তার কর্মক্ষমতা সমস্ত কিছু দিয়ে সে হচ্ছে যে একটা জায়গায় উত্তরণের একটা চেষ্টা করছে, তার একটা জার্নি ওপরে হচ্ছে। এবং পরে অরিজিৎ আবার ক্যান্ডেলিন নেমে আসছে, সে যখন একটা প্রশ্ন করছে সমাজের কাছে, যে সেটা হলো যে আমাদের রিভিজিট করা উচিত, সে কিন্তু পাবলিকের মধ্যে আসছে, সে নিচে নেমে আসছে। আমার কাছে এটা বিশাল বড় একটা গুরুত্ব ছিল, যেটার জায়গা থেকে শুধুমাত্র পেশেন্ট বা হচ্ছে কেস স্টাডিকে রিফ্লেক্ট করা নয়, সেখানে একজন রিসার্চার, একজন হচ্ছে যে গবেষক, সে কি যন্ত্রণা পায়, মানুষ হিসাবে কি যন্ত্রণা পায়, সেটাও আমার ডেলিভার করার দরকার ছিল।
Candle is that a light shows hope, light shows a great impact, light shows to the vision. So we are working with a vision with this film. So without any light, we can't go for any vision. So light is very important with us. That the candle put, when the first thing Arijit entered with a candle with the light, he put the light and he starting his journey with the film. As as a researcher, when he was started his researcher journey at the 20 years back, at that time also, we think so that he has a candle, the light of a candle. That's why this is the light.
That's right. So that's the vision. So what is going to happen after this? My hope is that this will create a lot of awareness. So the 2 screenings we had in 2 cities, Kolkata and Delhi, I was actually surprised to see that even in the educated strata of society, the awareness is quite poor. For example, medical professionals doesn't know about genetic counseling, right? Medical professionals doesn't know that genetic evidence can be absolute certain. They think it's always prediction. So that means education also has to change. Medical education has to have more emphasis on genetic education. I'll give you an analogy what is happening in Britain at the moment, in UK. And so to tell you that what my bigger dream would be for India. In UK, the health system is run by the government. It's called National Health Service. The National Health Service in 2016, about 7 years ago now, they published a document called the Genome Generation. Okay, so think about this: the medical practice, National Health Service, they are not genomic service, but they published a document called the Genome Generation. It's a policy document, very big. It's 250 pages long. But if I summarize the crux of that vision document, is that they are saying that they visualize a future, not long in the future, not too distant in the future, but they visualize a future where genetic information would be the first line of clinical management. Right? So in Kolkata was the first screening, Delhi was the second screening. In Kolkata screening, we had a very mixed audience. So we had scientists, we had clinicians, we had members of public, we had uneducated strata of the society, and we had film critics, film line, arts and media people also. And the response was overwhelmingly positive, I would say. And everybody said that more such things should be done so that the public are aware. So for example, almost no one in the audience in Kolkata knew that something like genetic counseling exists. Right? Oh. For them, the word counseling means mental health related counseling. The counseling can be used for genetic conditions that they most of them was not aware. So that is a big, I see that as a big good outcome of this event, right? And in both places, I'm very happy that both places, the clinicians, the ophthalmologists, the glaucoma experts, both in Delhi and Kolkata, they were unsure that how certain is this genetic based prediction, right? And after the movie and after the panel discussion, in both places, they were convinced that this genetic evidence is 100% certain, and both places they said that with such an evidence presented to them, they are happy to start preventive treatment before the symptoms are visible. So I see that as a win. So that's the big first step as far as my dream is concerned. A long way to go,